Gumbo 2.0. What is Gumbo 2.0? I've talked about Gumbo 2.0 a while ago. Gumbo 2.0 is Louisiana's expansion of broadband. If we look at the press release from the governor's office, Jeff Landry. Landry announces Louisiana first in nation to secure approval to spend $100.3 billion in broadband expansion. Governor Jeff Landry announced that Louisiana is the first state in nation to secure approval for its plan to deploy $1.355 billion in broadband equity access and deployment BEAD funding through the state's Gumbo 2.0 program. Now, Louisiana is pioneering our broadband revolution across America as we set a national standard for rural broadband investment. Now, if any of this sounds familiar to you, it's because this is all part of the $1.355 billion from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act that Biden supported and Biden had passed. But if you search for infrastructure, do you see infra anywhere here? Nope, no infrastructure. There's no mention. I mean, you do mention the BEAD fund or whatever, but nobody knows what BEAD fund is. But if you would have said the Infrastructure Whatever Jobs Act, more people might realize the fact that our Gumbo 2.0 program was being paid for by Joe Biden's plan to increase rural broadband access. Did Governor Landry mention that Joe Biden was the one that got this accomplished? Nope. He's taking all the credit for it himself, even though other sites, like this one, mentioned Connect LA does say, yes, it is from the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. And if you follow along with politics, you know that that is something that was passed by President Joe Biden. So why did I have a massive case of the giggles earlier today or yesterday? Might have been yesterday. Louisiana Illuminator. Trump administration halts broadband expansion in Louisiana. Many rural Louisianans who were promised access to fiber internet may be out of luck. Recent changes to the federal broadband equity access and deployment program, originally set to grant Louisiana $1.3 billion in fiber expansion, will reverse the Biden administration's fiber-first approach, and with it, the fiber expansion is planned in rural Louisiana. Louisiana was set to start dispersing grant funds this year through the Gumbo 2.0 program as the first state to get its BEAD deployment plan approved by the federal government. However, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick's revamped guidance, announced this last week, has stripped the federal approval, setting Louisiana back several steps from a plan to connect the whole state. I am loving it, just like McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it. Not because I want to see people in rural Louisiana without data. I would love for everybody to have more access to high-speed data. Maybe people could become more educated and more informed if they had better access to internet in rural areas and might realize that their president is full of shit. Then again, maybe that's why Donald Trump and his administration is preventing these funds from being dispersed. Maybe that's why they're preventing this program from being, implemented, because they don't want people in rural areas becoming more educated, because as Donald Trump said after the 2016 Nevada primaries, he loves the poorly educated. So why would he want to do anything that helps them become more educated? Not that I think many of them would take the opportunity to become more educated, but still. According to Route 50, This is another website. Federal guidance issued last week has thrown much of the program into doubt, and states and other organizations try to find ways forward under a compressed timeline. Just days after the federal government announced changes to the Broadband Equity Access Deployment Program, stakeholders have expressed outrage and optimism as states search for answers on a path forward. Howard Lutnick announced a new slew of changes to the $42.5 billion BEAD program after a 3-month review, including states must now be technologically neutral rather than prefer fiber. Rules around workforce development, climate, and environmental impacts have also been rescinded, as has the approval for Delaware, Louisiana, and Nevada's full plans. The trio of states were the only ones to receive final approvals and did so in the waning days of Joe Biden's administration. Already, politicians in some of the impacted states have threatened vengeance. U.S. Senator Jackie Rosen, a Democrat from Nevada, said she would block the nominations of any Commerce Department. I am beyond outraged. The Trump administration has moved the goalposts yet again and rescinded Nevada's approval. The Delaware Broadband Office is closely reviewing the recently issued BEAD restructuring policy. A spokesperson said Delaware is committed to leveraging every available tool to connect unserved and underserved communities and will carefully analyze this. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see what Governor Landry, Republican in Louisiana, has to say about this. I cannot wait to see how, if he would have just simply given Biden credit at the start, he could have maybe found some way to finagle some excuse as to why it was Biden's fault. It's not Biden's fault. It would never be Biden's fault. It's Trump's fault. But because he refused to give Biden any sort of credit for the work that he did to get this act passed, it all now falls on him, or he now has to blame Donald Trump for it. And I am going to love watching that infighting go on. I can't wait to see what happens on the next episode of Gumbo 2.0. Petty Me is loving it. This is an example of, without actually causing harm to the people who voted against Trump, mostly, while having the people who voted for Trump getting punished. Because this is going to hurt the people who voted for Trump disproportionately than it will hurt the people that voted against Trump. Because the people that voted against Trump tend to live in more urban areas, which tend to have more access to better, high-quality, higher broadband internet. Have access to things like fiber, like I do in my house. So, y'all gonna cry about not getting fiber now because Donnie Boy took it away from you? Huh? Y'all gonna shed some tears over the fact that you were looking forward to getting some of that, high quality internet in you so you could watch some, hypocritical porn or something? I bet you many of the people who are conservatives but are closeted in some way or another will probably be like, ooh, I get to watch me some of that high quality, high definition porn. Nope. Sorry, y'all. You're going to have to keep using your crappy internet to go look up Pornhub or some other porn site or whatever. Tough tiddlywinks, y'all. Couldn't be happier for y'all. And I already have my fiber, so if you're in rural Louisiana and you voted for Donald Trump and you're mad that you're not getting fiber internet now because the Trump administration just took it away from you, fuck around and find out, y'all. You fucked around, you voted for the wrong guy, and now you're finding out. You're not getting your fiber. Sorry, you lose. You picked the wrong horse, and now you got to suck it up and deal with it. As someone on The Simpsons might say,